What is up, guys? This is Chris, aka SideStrafe. I got a little something special and different for you. I'm going to call this Nostalgia Night. I'm going to go back in time and look at some PC games that really changed everything for me, and I think the world in terms of the genre of games. And tonight we're going to go back to 1998. Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six by the original Red Storm Entertainment. This is the first one in the franchise. Red Storm was actually started up by the Tom Clancy. It was a US-based game developer back in the day, and I'll talk about why that's important a little later. But take a look at this box. I think I was born out of this box. It's huge. But guys, this is, if you weren't around, if you're not as old as some of us of the PC gaming days, this is how your PC games came in this gigantic forest-destroying box. But it was cool, and I think it still is cool because you've got kind of what you paid for. You got a little bit extra. And I think as a collector, this really has some value to me. It's not in mint condition, but it's pretty good. But kind of just going through this box, you see your extra little goodies. You got a full-size manual. This one's got about 71 pages on it. And just full of things, glossary, military terminology and things like that. Tells you all about your menu, your graphic settings. It's actually a useful manual. You didn't have to go online and look up anything, but you don't get this kind of stuff. And on the back too, if you're having some problems with the game, you can call the Red Storm tip line. It's only 95 cents a minute, guys, so you can call up and say, how do I not die? And they'll tell you how to not die in this game. Did anybody ever call that number? I hope not. If you did, don't tell me because I don't want to know you. But anyway, you also got your Red Storm Entertainment CD-ROM registration card. I never filled it out. I neglected to do that. I don't know what I was thinking. I think that I was probably playing the game or something, And then there is, of course, the jewel case, a full-size jewel case with CD, hardware specifications inside, a little bit about the menu interface on the back. My CD is, if I'm correct, yep, still in mint condition, not one scratch on it, because I'm awesome. Take care of your stuff, kids. But let's take a look at some of these system requirements. IBM PC and compatibles with hardware acceleration, 166 megahertz, Pentium minimal without hardware acceleration. 200 megahertz Pentium MMX recommended. Make sure you got that MMX, guys. Windows 95 or 98. You guys got 98, man. 100 megabytes free hard drive space. Megabytes. 16 megabyte minimum. 32 megabyte preferred RAM. 16-bit SVGA or better 2D video card. 3D video, direct 3D compatible. Hardware acceleration recommended. 3D effects Voodoo, Voodoo 2, NVIDIA Riva, Matrox G200. Wow. Audio, Sound Blaster 16, quad speed CD-ROM drive display, at least a 640 by 480 by 16 color display. Network play, properly configured connection at 28.8 kbps or faster. So hopefully you got that 28.8 action. You hardcore guys will have, what was it, 36.6 or whatever baud modem. I think when this came out, a little shortly after, I was still on modem, but a few months later, I think in Florida, cable modem started rolling out with Roadrunner, and I was one of the first people to have cable. So you guarantee I was always the host back then with the first broadband cable modem that was probably as big as this box to run our games. But yeah, I remember the good old days of lag shooting. But yeah, that's what you got. This is what you got in your little big box, and I kind of miss these days of getting actual goods within the box, which is now why I buy everything on Steam, because there's nothing in the box these days except for like a slip on how to win an Alienware computer. Which, if anybody's ever won one, let me know. But yeah, with this game though, this game just changed everything. It revolutionized gaming in terms of it brought realism to the table. Before this, we were playing Quake, and I love Quake. I'll get to that in another episode, but I also love like tactical realism, military shooters. I like one-shot kills, and before this, there was no one-shot kill games. There was a game before called Spec Ops Ranger Team Bravo that came out before, but it was like a third-person. It wasn't that good. This game comes out, one-shot kills, full-blown, full-size teams, great multiplayer, photorealistic skinning on the player models, the worlds, and the weapons. Real recorded weapon sound effects, tons of options in terms of tactical planning prior to going into a mission. you name it, this game had so many features, and it had more features than multi-million-dollar budgeted games today, and it's a joke. We're going backwards. The first Tom Clancy Rainbow Six game has more feature than the latest Tom Clancy or Ghost Recon games from Ubisoft, who basically destroyed the franchise. Now, like I said again, this was the original Tom Clancy, founded this little startup gaming company in the U.S., and this was a bunch of guys that I think that wanted to passionately create an awesome shooter, and they did so. And now, as you know, like after Rainbow Six 3 Raven Shield, I think Raven Shield was picked up by Ubisoft. That was the French Canadian team, I think, or French team out of, I think it was Montreal team that did Raven Shield, which is still a pretty good game. But they stripped out all the stuff from the previous 2 Rainbow Six games, but it was still pretty good. But after that, Ubisoft destroyed that franchise, and I think when it started getting popular on the consoles, console gamers affected that as well, in terms of just kind of destroying the franchise, wanting more Hollywood action compared to realism. And so we lost a lot of that, and I hate you, Ubisoft. I hate you very much. Unless you want to give me free stuff, I'll just hate you a little less. But anyway, again, that's a classic thing of a publisher just killing a game. And I hope that the developers that went behind this game, I hope they're doing good things today. Like, I hope they have awesome jobs, and, you know, hopefully they're still carrying on their passions and whatnot, because they really, like this. I still don't have a game that compares to these games, and that's sad. That is so sad. We have all this awesome technology, and we can't even have the amount of options that this game did. And basically some of those options were included, like when we launched this game, you get in and you hear that epic intro pop up with Bill Brown, who's an awesome composer, and he still is. I think he cut his teeth on these games and is doing like TV and movies now because he's so awesome. But you had that music. You go in, you set up your options on the menu, which, you know, was just, you know, you have like a little tiny bit of options, like 1024 by 768 was like max resolution, and probably nobody actually ran that high res. I think I was running 800 by 600 back then on my big old monitor tube display. And you get in the game, you do some training things or whatever, and it's just the first time you're hit, you're like, pop, pop, you're dead. No respawn. Like in the single player, you could switch to your next partner in your team, in your squad. But you'd run in there like Quake, forget it, you're dead. And then translate that to multiplayer. Now, multiplayer is what I'm going to talk about the most because that's what I do mostly. And back then, we got on. Just think it's just quiet, just that quiet ambience. You go into the world, maybe you hear crickets. I remember specifically hearing the hum of the air conditioners in certain levels. You go in there, it's quiet. Maybe you just hear like your backpack rattling of your character. Little slight movement. You hear like the cloth fabric of your uniform rubbing together. And you hear your other guys kind of creep around and move around. You would hear like a door open. And that sound of the door opening would be so vivid. You know, what the hell's that? Take cover. And your heart would be pounding. Literally, when I first played this game, my heart, I kid you not, was pounding. Because this game was so intense. I get shot once and I'm dead and I can't respawn. And I was like, new. And I remember, I kid you not, I remember one time I played this game for so long that after I was done playing, I went to go to like the restroom or something, and I literally like side-strafed to go into the bathroom. Like, dude, what am I doing? I literally was like room clearing my bathroom because I'm so like was just immersed in that game that I'm translating it into real life. Like, that's how like it messed with your mind. And you're like, and everybody's like, Chris, you're just insane. Like, probably. But anyway, it was just phenomenal that game could immerse you so much and just put you into this world, this tactical world, and get you in there with your friends. Now, unfortunately, we didn't really have too much voice communication because, again, we're on modems, and voice comm, like Roger Wilco, didn't come out till a little later. But man, once that showed up, different story. We're all like, contact front, you know, 12 o'clock, you know, watch your six, like just grenades going off, flashbangs, you're blind firing, like taking cover, like looking around these corners, and just, I remember at the end of the map too, it'd have the stat thing of it show your hit percentage and how many rounds you fired. When's the last time you found a game that shows you how many rounds you fired and your hit percentage? Games do it, but not as many. I remember back then, I could go through a game and not have to reload a magazine because All it takes is one bullet to end somebody's soul. And I remember, I kid you not, you could go through that game and just not have to reload, because I never was in full auto. I'd be semi-automatic, keep a good distance, just, all right, there is, lead them, pop, pop, you know, maybe 1 or 2 shots to make sure. Because you could wound people and injure them. Like if you got shot in the leg, you'd be limping, or if you got hit in the arm, your reticle would, you know, spread more and your accuracy would be down. Right there, what I've just described to you and explained vividly are things that games today still don't even have any. They've removed them. They don't have them. People complain, it's too hard. You know, I want to respawn. Like, well, don't get shot and you'll stay alive the whole game. Play smart. Play as a team. You know, and now games are just dumbed down. They're called, and I've coined the phrase Hollywood shooter, which is basically, I'm sorry, but Call of Duty is like, dude, you can reload like a maniac in that game with these perks and things. Like you can like set your own spawn points. Like what is that? I mean, come on. It's like modern day Halo. Like if I want to play those games, that's why Quake and Unreal Tournament, those are what those are for. Like, why can't there be that separation? Now it's like you have to go play Arma, Operation Flashpoint or something, but they're just not the same. And it's just sad, like why these games just can't exist. And when you realize it, it's the only people that can really relate to me, I feel, are people that were there, people that are usually, you know, I don't want me to pull the age card, but like, you know, older guys that really just can relate to these games and kind of wanted that thing. And yeah, it's a slower paced game. And I'm not saying I was a pro, you know, I got killed and it's like, but you know, you'd enter spectator mode and then watch your friend, and there's still that tactical, like, oh man, I died. But it was just still the intense adrenaline rush you got from it is unmeasurable. And it's just really sad that, you know, we can't have that anymore. And it's kind of disappointing. And, man, I just, you know, it's just, you really get bummed out thinking about how it's no more. But you know, beyond that, feature wise, again, this game had so many things on top of just that gameplay. But you know, you go into multiplayer, every map from the single player is available. It had several different modes, you know, a couple character classes that you could play, but they weren't really classes because you could still kind of pick different equipment types, weapons, kits, door breach charges, extra ammo, things like that. They had different armor types, like different levels of body armor that you could wear. So you really got a full feature-packed game. So on top of the fact that we lost the gameplay mechanic, we lost gameplay modes, equipment, weapon selection, and at Raven Shield, Rainbow Six 3, the weapon selection was huge. It got even larger, and then after that, it got smaller. Like, you're lucky if you get, you know, a couple different guns in a game these days. I mean, you know, sometimes you didn't use them all. Like, I probably stuck with 1 or 2 weapons in the original game, but it was still nice to have that variety. You know, I had tons of different camouflage uniform types to choose from per level, and the maps were so classic. A couple of them had been remade, like they remade the embassy level over and over again for a couple. They remade the Kill House level. But there were some good ones like Hacienda, which I remember was an awesome map that we just... So many memories. Like, I loaded it up the other day just to like run through them in the single player, and it was a blast. Just like, I remembered the sounds hit you and you're just like, oh, I'm here again. It's like flashbacks. But that was pretty much it, guys. I know I'm running a little bit low on time, but yeah, that's just kind of my brief rant and rave about Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six, the original game. Ubisoft, please do something good with this title. Go back in time and bring this back to what it should be, and just, you know, make me happy again. Make a lot of people happy, and just kind of give us something different. You've got a lot of competitors. Give us something different. So, but that's it, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this look at Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six from '98 in Nostalgia Night. Stay tuned for the next episode. Don't know what I'm going to look at. Maybe Quake, because I love Quake. But yeah, stay tuned for the next one, guys. Peace out.